I kinda dig it, so I did my thing for her. She drinking with me, now we getting groovy, hotter than jacuzzi. So shorty want to slow it down. I see them other fellas, like they try to do it like me. It ain't the same. Front to back, shorty side to side, and lean with a soldier now. Cause it's so fly, girl. You should come to my crib. Yeah. But he go flip on you. If you knew you would be my tripping, but if you should be my girl.
Lena. Is it live on Facebook? And why that don't say as told by Nate with the good and butts anymore? As told by Nate with the good.
Hey, it's your girl Nay, coming to you with another episode of As Told by Nay, the podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and let's talk about it.
What's up? Happy Thursday, everybody. Hope you're having a great day thus far. Today has been a very long day for me, but I'm here and I'm making it. I'm glad that you guys could join me for another conversation on As Told by Nay, the podcast. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know today we're going to be talking about in-laws. And I heard that the in-law situation hit a little different with the millennial generation. So I have a married couple that's going to come on and have this dialogue with me, because y'all know I don't have any recollection of what in-law relationship is like at this point. But, I definitely have some questions, and I know you guys have some questions. So I'm going to go ahead and get the Gooding Butts on live with me. Go ahead and bring them on so they can introduce themselves. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
How are you guys doing today?
Doing all right. Doing good.
Doing good.
Winding down from work. So,
Okay. So how we're going to start this off is I want you guys to go ahead and take a minute and kind of let the people know who you are. Just anything that you want them to know about you going into this conversation.
Okay, well, I'm Ashley. This is my husband, Javaris. We've been married for a year and almost 2 months. Yeah, pretty much. I'm glad we're having this topic about in-laws, because it's very necessary to have this conversation.
Okay. Apparently it is, because I have been hearing a lot about in-laws lately, and I guess because if you could tell people how old you are.
So she's 98.
There you go. There he go.
It's all right.
I'm 31, and I robbed the cradle with this little baby here.
I'm 27. So
okay.
Age difference there.
You have an old soul, because I didn't know that you were that young.
And listen, most people don't. That's why I kind of keep my age in the wraps, and I just kind of,
Okay. I don't
Trey.
put you on blast.
He's
I don't
my
put you
little
on blast. Well, so I was getting at with that. We're at that age where our friends are married, getting married, in like long-term committed relationships. So, the family dynamic is starting to be important. So this conversation is happening more and more these days, and I always find it very, very interesting, the dialogue that stems from it. So before we jump into that, though, I want to go ahead and do our toast for the evening. I am drinking. Y'all know what I'm drinking. Malibu. What y'all got over there?
I'm drinking Jack.
Okay.
Don't know what I do.
He's drinking Jack. I'm like, wait. I'm drinking wine.
Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that, sis. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what? Funny story. I just got introduced to Hennessy Black last night, and that's a whole nother beast. That's a whole nother beast. I'm not a drinker like I thought I was, because I had a swallow and felt like I got hit by a train.
I can't even drink a regular Hennessy, not even a taste. So
I'm listen, good. All right. So today I want to toast to cleansing. So I'm about to be 31 next month, for those of you that know. And I have just been in a place of renewal. I'm just like, get rid of people that I don't need in my life, get rid of things that I don't need in my life, really doing some reevaluation. So for the next, well, not the next, but at the end of the month, for 31 days leading up to my birthday, I'm going to do just like a whole detox, spiritually, emotionally, physically, just everything got to go. So I'm going to start 31 fresh. So that's what I want to toast to, just coming into a new. So here.
Yeah.
Cheers.
When you guys hear, when I say I'm going to do a total detox of everything, what does that look like for y'all? Have y'all had to do that?
Honestly, I would say yes. At times we've had to like weed out negative people, negative energy in our lives, people who felt like, or people who we felt like aren't going to better us, and not help us achieve our goals, and not achieve, the things that we have planned for our lives. So whether it be friends at times, or people who we thought were friends, associates, co-workers, whatever. A lot of times you just got to get rid of those people, because they're not going to do anything but burn you down.
Right.
So.
Okay, cool. So I always like to start my show off with this segment that I call Excuse Me, Come Again. It's 4 random questions. I'm just going to ask you on the spot. You do not get time to prepare for them. And I just want you guys to answer them as freely and as honestly as you can. The point of it is to trip you up just a little bit, but I promise it's nothing disrespectful. And it's questions, I put them so that y'all...
Or as a couple?
So I'm going to ask you guys as a couple.
Okay.
Okay. But the answer may different for both of y'all, so that's cool too. Okay. So question number 1 is, do you feel like you guys love each other the same, or one loves one more than the other?
That is so funny. We literally just talked about this the other day. I say he's gonna say, I already know what he's gonna say. He's gonna say that he loves me more than I love him, and I say I love him more than he loves me.
Okay.
So yeah, that answer differs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I asked that question because I was having this conversation with another young gal who's married, and she was saying to me as advice on, if I'm trying to find the one or whatever, is that I should seek to find a man that loves me more than I love him. But for me, I feel like that's not fair, and that it should be a give and take thing. But that could be because I'm single. So I just wanted to kind of get a take of that from a married couple. Like, do you feel like as a woman, your man supposed to love you more? Or is it an equal thing?
Well, I do feel that. I feel like he was supposed to love me more. Um, and then as I got deep, I felt like I loved him more because I was the first one to even say I love you in our relationship. So, but he chased after me, like he was very persistent, and I feel like that's what a man's supposed to do.
And I think from a man's perspective, I think the reason why that ideology kind of gets played or gets put out is because, like she said, the man is supposed to be the chaser. So the man is supposed to be more interested so that he can continue to go after. Whereas if he was less interested, he's like, all right, I don't really care. So over time, that would kind of fade away. But if he's know that, okay, I worked this hard to get her, now I have to work that same amount or harder to keep her. So
Okay.
I think that kind of plays.
Noted. So question number 2. How do you guys feel about open marriage and sleeping with other people? Y'all know the whole little thing going on right now with Will and Jada and the August Alsina thing. And the conversation has come up is, well, that's something that millennials do. They down with the open relationships. They don't mind the swinging. They don't mind the threesomes and all those things. As a married couple, how do you guys feel about inviting other folks into your bedroom?
Not happening. This is all mine. This is it. Ain't no bringing anybody.
I'm too selfish. I just couldn't grant somebody else like, hey dog, here, you can go and have my wife for a little bit and I'll be over here cutting the room. Nah. I'm too selfish.
I really don't want to have to beat somebody down. So that's just what it is. I can't pleasuring someone else. Like that's just, it can't happen. I don't want to be pleasured by anyone else but him. So it just cannot happen.
Like, she'll get mad if I even hold the door for another woman. Like, it's just me being a gentleman.
That is funny. Okay. All right. So question number 3. What is one thing that you wished you had learned about your spouse prior to being married, if anything?
I would say for me that I wish I would have known how loud she was.
Everybody know that.
Listen,
that is hilarious.
I first started talking to my wife, but once we got married, like, I'm just surprised every day how louder she can get.
I sure can. Sure will.
That's that Duval. That's hilarious. Okay. What about you, Ashley?
Baby, so it's not gonna change. Not gonna change.
So what about you?
Things I wish I would have known about you.
Or a thing.
Well, when I first met him, let me say this, I did not know how old he was, baby. And I would have never talked to him if I would have known how old he was. But after we got married, I don't know. You kind of stayed the same.
Pretty solid guy.
Okay, please. I don't know. It's really nothing. I honestly, yeah.
Okay. That's what's up. And so last question, number 4. Are there any topics that are just unspoken in y'all marriage? It's like one thing, like, we just not even going to talk about that because it may cause friction. It may cause misunderstanding, arguments, or whatever. Y'all just know this particular thing, we can't even have a conversation about it.
No. We're pretty open.
That's what's up.
We talk about everything. We could talk about exes. We could talk about sex from the past with an ex. Like we could go that deep.
Okay.
So
I asked that because last week we did a show about having the body count conversation and figuring out when you're supposed to talk to your partner about old partners and things like that. And a lot of people were saying that's a conversation that they're not having with their partner. Like, we don't need to talk about that. So I was just wondering, is that the only thing people be scared to talk about, or are there other unspoken convos that happen? But you guys are pretty open. That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so boom. We're going to jump right into the letter and get this dialogue started. So I gave today's conversation the title, I Do, Do You, because again, we're going to be talking about in-laws and potential marriage, potential partners, and what that looks like once the family dynamic is brought into it. So, dear Nay, my boyfriend of 5 years has proposed to me. This is great news, right? This is supposed to be one of the happiest moments of my life, right? Wrong. For the last 2 years of our relationship, my family does not approve of my relationship with my fiance. He proposed in a private setting with no onlookers, which I thought was very intimate and romantic. When I told them the news, my mother was livid that he excluded them. And the first thing my grandmother said was he knew better because I would have ruined that moment. It breaks my heart that my family doesn't support me in this moment. My sisters and my brother said they won't be in the wedding, and my mother says she will come because I'm her daughter, but she will not stay for the reception because this is a mistake. Of course, financially, this is completely up to him and I because they have made it very clear that they will not help. When I speak to him about this, his only response is, I'm marrying you, not your family. How do you feel about marrying into families that like you? Do you feel that it is important for families to accept your partner for better or for worse as well? Should I not care that my family is against this union? Let's talk about in-laws. Signed, brokenhearted bride. So when I read this, I was brokenhearted for her too. Because for me, I am very family oriented. My family plays a big role in my life. So any guy that I am dating or in a relationship with and talking about marriage, like I want my family to accept him and embrace him, and be a part because again, my family plays a big role. But I don't know what that looks like from a marriage standpoint. So she's engaged and she's about to marry this guy. Do you guys think, first of all, how do you guys get along with one another's families?
You go first.
Um, I get along with my in-laws very, very well.
Okay.
I can say during my wedding process, there were a few bumps in the road, but prior to the whole wedding process, we got along great. After the whole wedding process, we kind of talked things out and we were back to where we used to be. So I get
Okay.
along with in-laws great.
Yeah,
Okay.
likewise for me. So with her and her family, my in-laws, like I said, everything's good. Talk on the regular and stuff, or try to at least. But other than that, I had no issues before, during, after, even now. They're all supportive and stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
so we don't have no issues on that end as far as that stuff.
Okay. So you have a good relationship with them. So you kind of spoke to exactly where I wanted to take this conversation first. The wedding planning process. So for the young lady that wrote the letter, she basically like, okay, we in this by ourselves because our family is just like not about to be nothing a part of this because they don't like him. And I asked her just for clarity, well, how does his family feel about it? And as I thought she was gonna say, he doesn't have a good relationship with his family anyway. And so for him, that's why it's like, well, I don't care about your family not liking me because I don't even like my own family. So it's about me and you. So when you guys got ready to go into this marriage and you guys are planning for the wedding, was your families a big part of the planning process or was it more so just you two?
So unfortunately, they were a bigger part than we wanted them to be, which came
Okay.
to be an issue, especially for my side. My side was definitely a lot of hands-on and a lot of, well, let me do this, let me do that, and then took the idea of our wedding to match what their idea was. Um,
Mm,
and then even I'll speak on my mother. She felt as if because she was here and she's in Tampa, so her mom is in Jacksonville. She felt as if because she's here with us, she sees us more often that she has to play that motherly role. But the whole process, I kept trying to tell her, "Hey, mom, this is our wedding. She has her own mom that she can confide in." And my mom took that hard. So honestly, me and my mom during the wedding process kind of got into it a lot because
mm,
what my wife wanted was not more so what my mom was trying to put into play, but I had to step up and defend my wife or my fiance then, like, hey, this is what me and my wife want. This is what we want to go with. And then my mom's like, well, no, y'all should do it this way. Y'all should do this. Like, it was so bad to the point where we had found the venue, our first venue that we wanted. We was gun hold on it. It was perfect. We brought my mom, just to include her on it, say, hey, this is what we're thinking about. She came in, kind of turned her nose to it. Nope, I don't like it. I don't like it. So that's right. So that started that was the beginning that started to tear everything apart. So that was
okay.
Yep. Yep. And I kind of felt bad because my mom is in Jacksonville, so she's not here with us, and she didn't get to have that mother-daughter planning my daughter's wedding with her experience. So she was kind of robbed of that a little bit. So I kind of felt bad for her, and me feeling bad for my mom, I was just like, hey, please have a conversation with your mom, like, because it's not fair for my mom to feel this way. So,
and then even with, like, for me, I always wanted my spouse and my family to get along great. So during the whole wedding process, I told her, I said, look, when it comes to my family, let me handle them because I know how she is. So if she says anything wrong, she might pop off and it may be a whole nother debacle and everything. So I said, let me just handle talking with them. So a lot of things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way was what I would say that's coming from her, but it'll, me saying it to them, they'll turn around and tell her about how they feel about what I'm saying. But in actuality, from our household, so we had to start, like, if y'all saying that about me, y'all really feel that way about her and what she's saying. So that is something that almost like tore, divide and everything during the process.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Right.
Okay. So Ashley, I know that you have brothers, and how is the relationship do you feel from your perspective between your husband and your brothers, your husband and your father? Like, what's that like?
Between my husband and my brothers, I think they get along great. Then I have one brother in Korea right now. He's not able to really converse with him as much. And then my other brother is deaf, so he's not able to converse with him that much as well unless we're face to face. So when we're all in one setting, they get along pretty well. Now, him and my dad, they get along really, really great. They talk on the phone often and stuff like that. So I love that. So, yeah.
Okay. How about your mom? Has she embraced this new son? Does she love him? Is it a great relationship?
She thinks it's her child. She talked to him like, you're my son. And that's how it is. So I can honestly say, yeah, she embraced him as a son. She already has 2 boys. I'm her only girl. So she talks to him like, you're my son and this is what we're doing. And that's it. So, yeah.
Very good. So I've been having this conversation lately with a couple of guys that I know. The dynamic of the mother-daughter relationship is completely different than the dynamic of the mother-son relationship. So you have situations where guys don't realize that they're mama's boys. And so when things are happening with, like, planning weddings, planning birthday parties, planning whatever involving mama's baby, it's a little bit of friction. So I'm going to ask you, Javaris, do you feel like you're a mama's boy?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, yes, he is. Yes,
absolutely he is. Not.
Yes, he is.
Absolutely
he
not.
Sure is. Yeah.
So then I would say you don't feel like you're a mom's boy, but you feel like you have a really close relationship with your mom then?
Yes, I do. I do feel like, I'll do anything for her if need be. But and I guess because we've had this conversation, which have turned into an argument at times, the whole stigma of mama's boy. So maybe we need to change the perception of what a mama's boy is and change the definition of the term. Because a lot of
Okay,
times,
talk to me. What does that mean?
listen, so to me, mama's boy means someone who's always up under his mother, someone who runs and cries to his mama about every single thing. Mama, can you do this? Mama, my wife not doing this. Can you do this? Mama, I'm finna come stay with you. Mama, 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 mama. That's not me. Do I love my mother? Absolutely. But I don't like tell her everything. We don't talk every day. She's definitely helped me throughout life. But to say, and then even my mother had said, she was like, yeah, you and mama's boy, but that's because, it was just me and you in the house. So that's all it was. So I think there's different stigmas on what mama's boy actually is. But to me, I don't feel like I am a mama's boy. Honey?
Okay. He's definitely a mama.
So you're only child?
Yes. By my mom, I'm the only child.
Okay. Oh, you the only child? Oh. That hit a little different. That hit a little different. So I'm gonna ask you a question. If your mother would have said that she did not like Ashley for you, I don't want you to marry this girl, something about her, let's not do this. Do you think that that's something you have considered or pushed away from her? Or, like, how would you have moved about that? You feel like this woman is your wife and you want to marry her, but your mama like,
So I felt like that would have caused a divide between me and my mom. I definitely would have went with the person I'm with, because at the end of the day, that's who I'm marrying. And it's funny you bring that up, because before I proposed to her, I was engaged previously. So my mom said that my family and her didn't like my ex, but I was still going to go through with the marriage and everything. So to me, I felt as if she was the one for me, but nobody else liked her, which they didn't tell me until we ended up breaking up. But like, I've always been a person to go with who I'm with and not be easily influenced by family or friends, or, no matter what the red flags were with her, which I should have listened when it first came up, but I still chose to go with the person I was with, and move forward. So
that's a little different dialogue, because I've had this conversation with a couple guys prior to you, and the common consensus is that, well, if mama's saying she don't know or she don't like it, it's probably something to that I need to, and they really was like, if they mom told them that it's a no-go, that they would revisit the idea. But for you, you're like, well, you're going to go with your gut feeling and, do what you need to do, because ultimately you have to be with that person. So
Right. And just like you said, at the end of the day, my mother is not the one in the marriage. Like, she can tell me how she feels and she can tell me what signs she may see. But at the end of the day, it's up to me to make that final decision. So, of course, I might take it into consideration and then just be like, is it really this bad? Nah, I think she's tripping. I think, she's overseeing something. But at the end of the day, it is my decision. So.
Okay. So what about you, Ash? If your mother was to come to you or your father and said, we're not too sure about this guy, do you think that is something that you would have taken into consideration, or are you kind of on the same thing where it's like, I make my mind up for me?
I do make my own decisions, but I do take what people say into consideration. And the people that I listen to are the people who know me and who I know I've gone and told about this person. Like, if he did me wrong in our relationship prior to us getting married, but they could look past that and stuff like that. They're not just judging him on that one incident or that second incident. They really look at him as a good guy. I would listen to those people who I feel like really have my best interest at heart. I feel like parents will always have your best interest at heart. But there are some parents that are very selfish as well. Like, I don't want my baby to grow up. I don't want my baby to be with this person. They have an idea of who they want their child to be with. There are parents like that, but I think my parents are very Like whoever you want to be with, we're fine as long as they respect you. Like that's all. They don't put their hands on you. That's the main two things my parents say. So
Okay. So prior to each other, how many people from your past has made it to the meeting the family?
oh child. I feel like all the guys I dated met my parents. Yeah, I can honestly
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a little different. Everybody, like all the women's basically met my mom. Like okay, so for guys it's kind of different. For me, I thought that as of, all right, let me introduce you to my mother so that you can be comfortable with me and feel special and we can do other things. So that's what
Okay.
my mom said. So my mom,
Yeah,
she
look.
done basically done met everybody. And that's why I couldn't be like, all right, hey,
So you was
all right,
making them all feel special.
right. Even when I brought her around my family, like my family always make jokes like, all right, he brought somebody else here last time.
Yep,
We'll see how long you gonna be here.
they sure did.
Oh wow. See, and
They
that's
sure
another. So that leads me to the families joking, and so I brought this conversation up to a friend of mine who just recently got married, and he is in a has been married into a family that they are like really big jokesters. The girl, his wife's mom, is the only girl, and she has, I think he said, 6 brothers. And so not only did he have the joking and the questioning from the father, but you got the whole tribe of uncles that every time you come around, they're joking, they're saying this, they're saying that. And he's a little more on the standoffish vibe. So for him, it would like make him feel some type of way as a man. He don't like it. He always talks to me about it because he knows my family is like that too. Like you got to have tough skin if you're going to come around, because I got a lot of uncles and they like to joke and they say little stuff. I have brothers, I have cousins. So for you guys, and you perfect lead-in, Ashley, when you go around his family and they were making jokes about the past or whatever, seeing as how they have met all the others, how did that make you feel? How did you deal with that?
I was just like, I'll be here next year, and you're gonna see me Christmas, and you're gonna see me Easter, and any other time, family reunions. I'm still gonna be here, and they'll be like, okay, like they like the fact that I snapped back, like I had a comeback for them.
Okay.
That's just me.
So is your family like that too? Do they joke with Javaris, or is it more? Are they more mellow?
Yeah, my family's more mellow. I think my brother that's right under me was more aggressive with Javaris. He was just like, "What's up?" Like, what you kind of want with my sister type deal. But they're a little bit more mellow and more accepting. So
Okay. Did your dad use
Yeah.
scare tactics when he first met him, or was it? Okay.
that's not my dad. My dad is he's a jokester. He's a loving and caring person. He didn't try to scare him at all.
Okay. So, of the exes that have met the family, because y'all say all of them, is there any one of them that still lingers? Like any relationships that the family feels like y'all broke up, but we didn't break up with them? They're still cordial with them. They still speak to them, and they still have a relationship with them.
He has that issue. My family know, because once I break up, we all break up. Even my friends, we all break up all together. We are one. We are a union. We are a union. So we all break up from that. But he still communicates with his ex family.
So not more so my family lingering. Well, so for me, my family doesn't linger on to any of my exes, but my family will, like if they like one of the other exes from anybody else, that's when they'll say, hey, why you don't bring her back around, or what happened to her, or whatnot. But for me and my ex, their family, like it's maybe like one person who are still in contact with communications. So I know that can be a touchy subject. Whereas, well, should you communicate with your ex's family, or should your family communicate with your ex? I just feel like as long as it's not disrespectful. I mean, honestly, because when I talk to my ex's family, I don't talk about her. I don't talk about anything that they got going on. It's simply just us building with each other. Like a mentorship to me, how to help me to grow, things like that. So,
Okay. Ashley, does any of your ex's families still? Because I know you said your family is we all broke up, but on their side, like any of your ex's family still check for you, still talk to you? Yes.
I knew he was gonna say Kid. They do. But why? I mean, why not? I'm just a lovable person. I would check on me too. Like I would. Like I'm a lovable person. So I know one of my ex's mom hates the fact that her son did not do right by me. So, but she kind of still holds on to that. But yeah, they check on me and I'm just like, I'm good. They're happy for me and they're happy for my marriage and stuff like that. They're happy for that with me. So I can honestly say it's no ill intent, any of that. So
Okay. Ask that question because then something came up where this same guy was saying how and I think it's because her family, they may just be testing him, and I don't know why they go so hard on my boy, but I guess he had gone to 4th of July situation just this past weekend with her, and one of her exes was there. Like the brother is still cool with him, so we doing a barbecue type deal, come through, get a plate. In his mind, he said he really didn't think any harm of it when he invited the guy, knowing that his sister and her new husband were coming. But so they show up, it's awkward, it's like weird. So if one of you guys' ex families invited you to a family gathering, are you going?
So that actually happened. That actually happened to me. So the ex, her uncle invited us to a cookout, I think like 2 years ago. But I said no, I wasn't going to go, only because I knew how awkward, like extremely awkward it would have been. Being there, because I didn't know who from their family was going to come around, and like some of her family still, like things on my Facebook, Instagram, or whatnot. So to me, I just feel like that is extremely comfortable. If you want to keep it distant or just talk on like a one-on-one, that's fine. But to go around like their whole family, I just feel like I would just shy away from it, because you don't know how that could end up going. Smart comments, looks, and then she get mad because they looking at me some type of way. Now I got to beat this bitch ass, stuff like that.
Okay, so
So I don't know if I can put on YouTube anything.
Nope, you good. So attending family gatherings is a no-go for you guys for exes.
Right, right.
Okay. Would it be, well, no, because y'all said y'all people don't, because I'm just like, I was going to ask, would it be a situation where you would walk into that, but probably not. Okay. So both of you guys have stated that you're pretty close to your parents. How does the sharing go with your parents as far as, Ashley, are you calling mom like, mama, this man, da 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 da? Like, are you calling Mama Javaris like, man, I don't know what to do because my wife? Like, where does the sharing stop when it comes to the parents so that it doesn't affect the relationship?
No, I don't really communicate with my parents about what happens in our marriage if it's, bad things, because that's our marriage. That's something we would have to work out. So I don't really communicate with them on that part, more so of the good things. Oh, look at what he got me. He thought of me today. More so that the disagreements, the arguments we keep between ourselves, and we talk about it and work it out with ourselves. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Unless they are around or on the phone when we're having that disagreement, it's the only way that they would really know what's going on. But other than that, we don't say. I know specifically me. I don't say anything to my mother or my dad about what troubles we're having, what issues we're going through. Only the good times really that we'll tell them about.
Do you think that piece of advice is important for like the growth of your partnership? Because I find that a lot of people will say they talk to their parents about things, or their sisters, close friends, about their relationships, and then there may be some dissonance, but then you guys work through it, because at this point you married. Where y'all going? Nowhere. So then you gotta hope that whoever you talk to about this issue isn't holding grudges or doesn't feel some type of way now. So for you guys, it's pretty important then to kind of keep your marriage stuff in home, and not include your family. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would say the only, uh, well, I guess for me, the only way to talk about it with someone else is if you both are going to counseling, just to kind of talk through issues, and then that way you have someone who's not swayed by one side or the other. So they're going to look at both sides, say, all right, well, actually, this is where you are wrong. This is where you can do better. But Javaris, also, you did this wrong, so try to do it another way this time. So, but as far as friends and family, people who already have a bias towards you, I don't think that's a good idea.
So this is a hypothetical question, but just kind of curious as to how you guys will handle this. If there was a situation where something happened and your parents, for whatever reason, decided now they just don't like your spouse. At this point, y'all already married. So what is your reaction? Ashley gets into it with your mother, and now there's friction and relationship divided. As husband and son, how are you handling that?
So for me, first off rip, I'm taking my wife's side no matter what. So whatever my wife says, oh, your mom did this, your mom said this, said that. I'm going to hear her out, hear her side, and then I'm going to talk to my mom, see what happened. And then if it's something that I feel can be resolved, then I'm like, well, mom, you got to look at it at Ashley's side. I mean, Ashley, you got to look at where my mom is coming from. But at the end of the day, I'm married to my wife, so I'm going to take her side regardless, no matter what, on whatever issue, because at the end of the day, I got to go home to her as well. I'm not going home to my mom. I'm not sleeping with my mom, I'm sleeping with my wife. So
Right.
I'm going to look at what she has to say, take it into strong consideration. And then if her and my mom can't come to an agreement, definitely try to see if my mom can see it from her side, or see if both of them could just say, you know what, let's never talk about this issue again. Let's just leave this as one of those things that we just don't discuss and just move forward. Just to try to create peace within those two relationships.
Same.
Same thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, trying to see how to word this.
Say it as is. Just make it funny.
So actually, is your mom? Would you consider your brothers to be mother's boys?
Always did. Always did when growing up. Especially because I am the only girl. So I always said my mom had a stronger bond with her sons. And I still stick with that to this day.
Okay. Are you close with your brothers?
Mm-hmm.
How
Especially
are
my
you?
baby brother.
Okay. So I'm going to pose this question to you, because Javaris doesn't have any siblings, but do you feel like it's important for you to build friendships with your brother's girlfriends?
Actually, my baby brother is married,
Okay.
and did I feel it was important to build a friendship with her? We don't talk as much now, so I would say no, as long as she's treating my brother right. That's what I care about most. Yeah, we don't talk at all. So
So you don't insert yourself into your brother's relationships.
I don't. If my brother decides he wants to come and talk to me about stuff, then I can give him advice. Um, but it would never be advice on you need to leave her, you need to this, you need to that. I always say seek counseling first, and y'all should work this out, or maybe you should approach this a little differently, stuff like that. And he has two older sisters
Yeah, so that's on my
Okay.
dad. I
on
was
his
gonna say that.
dad's
That's
side.
on my dad's
Oh,
side.
okay, okay.
And there was an instant, just kind of speak on this same topic. So there was a situation where her and one of my sisters got into it. So my sister had made a comment, and
Oh,
she,
so you
after the
holding out.
conversation, huh?
I said, you holding out. This is what I wanted to ask you.
I got you. I got you. So one of my sisters had made a comment while they were on the phone. So after the conversation ended, Ashley was like, I think your sister just called me this and just said this about me. I was like, are you serious? She was like, yeah. So I called her. I was like, hey, did you say this about my wife? So she got mad. I would never do this. Da, 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 da. So then me and my sister kind of fell out a little bit because I'm just like, well, you said this comment, and my wife is saying that you said it, but now you're lying. Say that you didn't say it. So it's like at this point, in any person would say, well, who do I trust? Do I trust my wife or do I trust my sister? So at the time, I'm just like, well, why would my wife lie when she's never lied to me? Not to say that my sister hasn't lied to me, but it's just like, I feel closer with my wife at this moment. So at that moment, I'm gun ho for my wife. Like, look, if you got anything to say about us, only keep it positive. Boom, 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 and be done with it. So me and my sister kind of fell out a little bit, but we got over it or whatnot. But in that moment, I'm just like, well, let me defend my wife at all costs. To let her know that if a situation arises, that she's not just left out to defend for herself. Like I got her back no matter what. So that was
Okay.
my mindset.
And I was kind
Ashley, were you?
of be on like even telling him what his sister said, because I didn't want that falling out between them two. But I felt like it was important, and I was his fiance at the time, but I felt like it was important for me to let him know, because I know how I react to things. I can react first and then think about it later. So I really
Mhm.
sat there for a while and said, should I tell him this? Because if I see her, then I'm probably gonna be like, what you said, like type deal. And I didn't want it to get to that point because I know how much he values his wife and his family getting along. So I really struggled with that for a long time. And I eventually was like, your sister said this, and this, and I really don't appreciate it. And I like the way that he took control and handled it. So that way I didn't have to come in and, say my piece.
Because she knows, like, my mindset is I would rather my family be mad at me than to be mad at her, because I know me and my family would get over it, because they can't get rid of me for blood. But for her and my family relationship, that still is something that can be broken, where she can be like, you know what, I never want to go around your family again. I never want to do this. And then I know that because, like she said, I am someone who is big on family, that can cause an issue. Whereas I would rather them be mad at me, y'all fuss me out, but don't cuss out my wife, because that's when things are going to get worse. So
Right.
that's the kind of approach I try to take on things.
Okay. So actually, because Javaris was saying, so it actually led to a fallout between him and his sister. Were you pushing for him to fix that? Like, were you, hey, y'all need to get that together, or were you kind of like, well, she said what she said, so I don't care?
I always push him when he had a falling out with his mom. I always push him to like talk to his family, tell them how you're feeling. I always push that, always, because I just know how much he values his family, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that how close he like with his whole entire family. I don't have that closeness like with my whole entire family. My immediate family, yeah, but like my other relatives, I don't have that. He has that. So I have that more so with my friends. So, and he knows that, because if I have a falling out with my friends, he's pushing the issue of you need to talk to them, da 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 da, because he knows I value my friendships more than anything. So, yeah.
Okay. So the last little piece of this that I want to get into before I let you guys get out of here is the conversation with in-laws also extends to when you branch off and have your marriage, and then you start having kids, and then you guys are building new traditions and doing things over here. Children and new traditions always seems to put a rift in that whole in-law thing, because then you have the grandparents that want to be parents, or you have someone who, and not for you guys because you both are family oriented people, where I don't want to hang out with the family. I rather just have our own little situation at the house with us. Whereas the other partner is like, but I want to do holidays with everybody. But for you, is there any like traditions or celebrations that you foresee may be a little hard to kind of come by once children get involved, when it's like bringing both of the families together? I mean, because kind of like the marriage where you're planning this wedding, people want their input. It's your big day, but they feel like they need to be a part if you guys are doing birthday parties or having holidays, and grandparents have say so, or aunts and uncles. Like, do you foresee any?
So before I was pregnant, it was very easy. Like Thanksgiving, that's a big thing for his family. So we was like, all right, Thanksgiving, we're gonna spend it with your family. And Christmas we'll go to Jacksonville and spend it with my family. So we did that. Then when I became pregnant, it was me. I started to feel like, all right now, my mom does not live here in Tampa. So she is not going to be able to see Jada like that. So we got to figure something out. Like, it's not fair that my mom is going to have to get on the road every single time to come here for holidays or do this, because she's going to want that time with her grandbaby. That's her first grandbaby. So I had like that feeling, and I kind of expressed it when I was pregnant with him, and he kind of wanted to include my family too. He felt the same, like even with the celebration of my daughter's life, we were going to do that, like balloon release or whatever. And he was like, baby, do you want to do it in Jacksonville, since your mom, so your parents and your brothers can be included? Like, he considered what I said. So that made me happy, because it's like, all right, we can go down the street to your mama's house at any time and she could see her grandbaby at any time, but my mom doesn't have that privilege. So yeah, we talked about that. Something we think about a lot.
Yeah, I think it's really just going to be, like you said, just communication. I don't think there's any issues that, like, immediately just thinking about it now, that are or that will come up. Like, we know what holidays are going to be spent with who, or even if they want to come down to us or we have to change it up. Like, we don't have an issue with just being flexible, saying, all right, well, let's just spend this year, we'll do all of our holidays in Jacksonville. The next year we'll do all of our holidays in Tampa. For us, I think we're flexible with just making decisions as far as where to go, and not really making it an argument as far as who we're spending it with.
Oh, I know something I wanted to ask you guys. Do your families get along well? Like, is there instances where maybe there'll be like a big ass joint celebration, like everybody kind of come together as one big family? Or will it always be, sometimes we with Javaris's family, sometimes we with Ashley's family? Do they get along, like, to be able to do a big everybody?
I mean, I think it's because of distance right now is the reason why we can't really bring the two together. I think the only time that really was at the wedding, where everybody kind of came together. But other than that, like, her mom and her brother has been to my family's Thanksgiving, cook out and dinner and stuff. But I don't think my mom has an issue with going to Jacksonville for anything. But that's probably going to be the extent of, like, my family going to her family or her family coming to mine. Just be like a mother or brother, or just my mom or maybe my sisters. But it won't be like everybody. It's a lot of people.
Right. But I asked that because one of my friends, a new tradition that her and her husband started was she took on the holiday. So now we're having Thanksgiving at my house. So now this invitation extends both ways. I want my family there, just like my husband wants his family there. So then they all kind of like, come to their house in that instant. It is a lot of people, but I think that's a dope idea too. Like that everybody can kind of come together and. But okay. So before we get out of here, if you guys could, if you have any advice that you could give this brokenhearted bride that wrote this letter in regards to kind of moving into, because she has made the decision that she is going to marry this man, knowing that her family don't like him and knowing that his family is pretty much absent. So if you had anything that you would like give her any advice on going into this marriage, what would you say?
I would just say, stick with your guts, know what you're getting yourself into. I will say that family is a big thing. I feel like you should have your family in your corner for support. So if she does, decide that she wants to have a baby and stuff like that, like you'll be considering family then, like who's gonna watch this baby? That's when you're
Right.
gonna consider family then. So I would tell her don't shut off your family altogether, but stick to your guns. If you know that you love this man, this is who God destined you to be with, go for it. This is your marriage. And when you're going through things, because there's a reason why they don't like him. I'm not sure exactly why, if it's something that she told them or whatever. But hopefully this opened up her eyes. If that was the case, hopefully this opened up her eyes to, I can't tell my family everything. And when you go into your marriage, you cannot tell your family what's going on in your marriage. It's something that you need to talk to your spouse about. Now, if he is putting his hands on you, then yes, please open up, because baby, we want you to live. So
Right.
that's serious. But yeah, I would say keep your family out, but don't forget about your family, because that's your support system. They were there before he was there, and they're gonna be there if he ever leaves. So always keep your family near and dear.
And that's exactly what it was. She was telling in the dating process, she was telling her sisters things and her brothers things about, what they were going through. And again, she forgave him and moved forward with the relationship. And now they side eyeing because they don't like the way, he doing this or saying that. And we can be kind of one-sided when we're telling our side of the story, and now it's building narrative against this guy. So I think her idea is that she wants to try and shift that, but at this point they kind of have already made up their minds about who he is. So, but that was really, really good advice. Hopefully I know she's watching, so hopefully she kind of tries to make sure she keeps that relationship open with her family.
And one thing I would tell her to do is kind of one of the things that the last things my wife touched on, just have that open conversation. Just see what the root of the issue is. So if it's that you told them everything, all of the bad things that he's done to you before, just have that same conversation and say, although he's done X, Y, and Z, he's also done A, B, and C that has helped me get to where I'm trying to go or what we're trying to get at. And then even that can kind of change their perspective. And then also just to plug in the show, I would tell her to watch Family or Fiance on OWN. It really dives deep into whether you're just like the show says, whether you're choosing your family or your fiance. And a lot of their issues on that show is, well, I don't like the way he's doing this to you or she's doing this. And this is why we don't like them. But just a simple conversation of him talking to whoever doesn't like him, like direct one-on-one, so that they can get a better understanding of him, so they can say, oh, he's not really that bad, or he's really a good person, he's just his mindset needs to change or something. So even that can be something that can be resolved, but just have that conversation again, just to make or paint the picture of the guy that you see, paint that for them, make your family see him in the way that you see him.
Okay. Dope. So I definitely want to thank you guys for being a part of this conversation with me. It's been great. I I don't even have
Yes.
anything to tell you,
That's-
buddy. You heard it from the married couple. They gave you some great advice. Because for me, I feel like if my mama said she don't even want to come to the wedding, I don't know if I would be able to move past that and just be like, I'm gonna marry this man anyway. I don't think my mom would say that, but you know, that's just that broke my heart hearing that her whole family is just like, we don't want nothing to do with it. So, you know, hopefully that
just emotions right now. Like everything's just happening so fast and they're upset. So their emotions are probably high, but they'll probably come down from that high.
yeah, that I'm
Time will-
definitely hoping for the best with that situation. Because that's tough. That's really tough. But I am glad to have this conversation with you guys. You are one of my favorite couples. Y'all so cute. The people was asking for y'all to come back, so I'm glad that you guys were able to make it and you know have this conversation with me. And guys, that's another conversation with Nay on As Told by Nay. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Stay up to date with all that is Nay. If you haven't already, go ahead and get a copy of my book, Dreamer. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Order that book. If you already ordered the book, hit that link and leave me a review. Let me know how you like that book. And that's my time. I will see you guys right back here next week for another conversation on As Told by Nay, Thursday, 8 p.m. Let's talk about it. All right, Ashley and Javaris, thank you. That was great. You guys are very open to the whole conversation. I appreciate it. It always get kind of touchy when people start
Open every
I know some people be kind of touchy about how they talk about, you know, their experiences in their marriage, but I'm sure that definitely helps somebody to be able to hear. Y'all are always very open and honest, so that's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's us. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, I'm sure I know who to call when I need marriage couples on. Y'all are definitely a good time, and I like having the conversation. All right, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening.
All right, thank you,
sis.
too.
All right, bye. Lena, am I still live? Yes.